What's up, people? Kuna makosa ilifanyika. So, changing of the routine haikuwa favorable kwa accommodate kila kitu. Guess vitu vingine tutabidi tunaimprove. Nilitoa na kitu.
Unafanya hizo chache ziko kama 5 ama 6. 5. Zinaganga 6 kwa moja akimoja kama mimi. Jadi mimi na karanga. Ya pombo.
Yo, what's up, people? You having a good time? Hope so. Because if you come and have a good time, then unafanya nini kwa hii dunia? Just get the fuck out, you know? Na pia kama una expect a good time always, kumbuka kama ungepata chenye ulikuwa unataka wakati ulikuwa unahitaji, like hivi, then what is the meaning of living? Like, umemwamisha nini?
Life needs a purpose.
I think wazazi wetu wako sawa. Kama nipatie kila kitu nafanya kitu kweli.
Nakata kuregister.
Una register unit sahi? Walishafunga mbona?
See, hapa registration deadline is at first.
You've really got to get serious. You don't have to be grim, but you must be serious. And you must get serious about two very important things. Number one is setting your goals and where you want to go. Designing the next 5, the next 10 years is so vitally important. What do you want to do economically? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? What would you like to have? What would you like to share? How much would you like to earn? How far would you like to go? Those are some major questions to ask. And for that all to work out like you want it to for the next 5 or 10 years, in my personal opinion, you've got to get serious. Then you have to get serious about another important subject. And that important subject is called personal development. Personal development is striving hard to become the kind of person that you want to be. And to become the kind of person you want to be, you've got to work at it. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, who? What are you becoming? And if you go to work on it now, sure enough, in a very short period of time, you can take on a new direction to become the kind of person you want to be.
It haunted me. Okay. The voice in my head said, you know what, man? You're gonna die never even trying to reach your full potential. And how's that gonna feel? This restaurant got full of cockroaches and rodents and everything else. And I sat there and I said, this is my life. And I said, this ain't gonna be it for me. So in that restaurant, I quit my job, left my canister in that restaurant, my spray canister, got back in my Ecolab truck, and I went home. And I started working out like somebody. I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. And I was basically, I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment. I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering.
But it's incremental changes over the long haul, and the way you have to look at it is if these two boats are going in a parallel direction and one of them just shifts 5 degrees, over the course of time, this boat is going to be in a far different place than the other boat that's going the same way it was always going.
The next year is going to go by whether you're doing something about your life or not. The next 10 months are going to go by whether somebody is working to make change or whether they're not. And they may think, oh my God, I'm so far overweight, I'll never get it under control, or I'm so behind in my bills. Well, you know what? You make those incremental changes, and then, pretty soon in December you go, hey, I'm way better off than I was at the end of February. You make little changes and they all added up. And if you don't, by the end of the year, you're just in deeper. So every little bit matters.
Write down what you're trying to get done. Write down what you need to get done on a long-term basis and what you need to get done on a short-term basis. And write off a checklist. Force yourself. Be accountable.
The difference between a dream and a goal is a timeline and accountability.
Yeah, accountability is gigantic.
You got to have somebody, whether it's yourself or a friend or somebody that's going to say, look, did you do what you said you were going to do by this time? And if you don't, hold your feet to the fire. Because, just sitting around dreaming someday I'm going to get a different job. Someday I'm going to change this. Well, someday ain't a day of the week. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Look on your calendar. Some days not on there. I'm going to take this small step by here, this small step by there, this small step by there. And then pretty soon, we don't leap tall buildings in a single bound. We take it a floor at a time.
In life, folks, you cannot change your life unless you change something. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got.
What would you do if you just learned today that you only had 6 months to live? What if you only had 6 months to live? What would you stop doing? What would you do more of? Who would you spend time with? Now, the answer to that question is very interesting because what it tells you is what you really value. What is really important to you?
Driven human beings are going to always feel like they're behind. They're going to always feel like they're not doing good enough. They're going to always feel like they're not far enough. They're all going to always feel like you're losing. Look, 90% of the time, you're going to feel like you're getting your balls kicked in, all right? 8% of the time, you're going to be confused and you're frustrated. 2% of the time, you actually win. And those moments come and go, and then you're back in the 90%. And that's the reality of a winner's life. People don't understand that. They think it's all about
Gangsta.
around.